but we are reflections of each other. And one of the key components I want to stress out to a lot of the brothers who are in the awakening, whether in the metaphysics, whether in the African spirituality, whether in the historian, RBG movement, is to do your due diligence to find someone that's not all the way like-minded like you, but has some of the ideologies. That's what I'm saying right now. And I'm not saying it can't work, but I know a lot of my comrades who date or are married to women that's not really into, quote unquote, the empowerment of black people, you know what I mean? And they tell me they envy my relationship with my queen because they wish they can have their wife to come to return to God. Shaka Zulu, I can say his name out there, his wife is because she's not too black, you know? And I'm just saying though, you know, if y'all are evenly yoked when it comes to spirituality, I think the physical componency, the mental elevation will be expanded that much higher to where y'all can really establish a union together, the real Trinity, spirit, mind, and body, the health components, you know what I mean? We're looking for that shining dime, you know what I mean? We'll all be the icing on the righteous.
I say.
Marquis? Yeah,
We appreciate this. Oh, go ahead.
No. I got nothing to say.
I have a question for the group. For those who are not familiar with the conscious community and for the familiar with the return of the gods, how can you best get them to appear at the next one and take place, or take part in the next one?
Okay, as far as, that's a beautiful and excellent question. Let's start with your first question in the beginning about how can you see, I guess, those who are not quote-unquote unconscious to become conscious. I was explaining to my brother, I believe in this philosophy. Let me answer the question philosophically, then come back to it practically. I know that if you reach out to the person first, before you prove your philosophical point, I think the camaraderie will be that much cohesive, meaning tight. You know, I recall this story, very short. Years ago, I was talking to these brothers that played for a traveling team in Compton. And I was talking about the intricacies of libation. And when I went there to do libation, I was just calling on ancestors like John Henry Clark. You know, I was calling on ancestors like Khalid Abdul Muhammad, calling on ancestors like Mary McLeod Bethune, and they looked at me like I had boo-boo on my face. And I hate that it had to be that way, but they didn't really know who John Henry Clark was, unfortunately. They didn't know who Khalid Muhammad or Stokely Carmichael was. They really didn't know who Malcolm X was. So with me being an audience-centered speaker, I seen that I had to assess the situation. So they played basketball. I know they like the Lakers. I said, how many of y'all like Shaquille O'Neal? And for those that don't know what libation is simply giving credence and respect to our ancestors by pouring water to the earth. So it's a ceremony for those who will be parted. So since they didn't know about none of the esteemed scholars, I had to reach them first. I was trying to prove my philosophical point first. I said, how many of you know like Shaq? Everybody who handed it up. Well, I said, this guy that predated Shaq about 35 years ago, whose name was Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was an ancestor there. He scored 100 points. And then I seen their eyes light up. Okay, now I got him. Now I can give him Khalid Muhammad. Now I can give him Kwame Ture. Now I can give him Mary McLeod Bethune because I have their attention. So that's my avenue. And my staples is to reach them first and then prove your philosophical ideological views. And as far as Return of Gods, it was just a momentous, magnificent occasion. It was just wonderful. So many different concepts of life as it relates to elevating your consciousness. We had people that was doing yoga. We had people that was speaking on the wonderful womb the sister was talking about. We had people that was speaking on metaphysics on fear. My queen talked about how to eradicate fear from your conscious and subconscious mind. We had Michael Jackson being reincarnated yesterday. Flex Alexander was a powerful comedian. This brother right here was giving us intricacies on how we can promote and build financially amongst the union. $10 million staplet or template that Kedia Wall is going to put on the scene. So it was a wonderful event and beautiful, gifted individuals. I met this brother. It's wonderful, and I just can't wait to continue the momentum because weeks don't end. It wasn't Return of God weekends. It's an ongoing endeavor, and grasshoppers out.
To build on that briefly, it's a wonderful question. It's an ongoing question, an intergenerational question. How do we convince more and more people with great potential, great resources, great talents, great individual and collective capacity to join with us? One of the things that I find does work is that as we step to people to invite them, we must come from a place of substance, of real substance that meets common needs. all of us share the same needs for clean water, clean air, for safe communities, for seeing the young people rise up to their full human potential, to employment, to economics freely flowing in and amongst us, to the point that it lifts us up big enough that we can expand ourselves. So come real. One of the things, and Grasshopper did definitely point on this, one of the things that many of those who would be with us are offended by is we give them rhetoric without the substance to invite them. One of the ways that I found that I was always able to get young people to listen to me was to hire them, put a paycheck in their pocket, give them some economic and social security in their lives. So we're going to do a better job of building our foundation so that the base of the pyramid is very strong. As we bring in others, they will lift us up as we bring them in. The pyramid base becomes larger, and the very top of the pyramid, which in this case is true African spirituality, always gets lifted higher and higher, tapping into the highest levels of the atmosphere and the ionosphere to bring more energy to the entire structure.
What's that?
I just say, you can't pour from an empty cup. We gotta make sure our cup is nice and filled up, and before we start going out there and try to, help our brothers and sisters. That's how we go.
And I wanted to speak on the element of what Grasshopper was saying too. My way has always been through health. So opening those, embracing health, embracing wellness, and not being extreme. To go at your pace with health. But in that being said, the centeredness of your health, that meditation, giving yourself better foods, naturally, because we have melanin, naturally, that higher intelligence within us is now broken down within the communication internally in us, and we will not only clear space for clarity to have a more quality, abundant life, now we can receive the messages because now the sugars and all the toxins are out of the body. You're eating right, your nervous system is calm, the meditation is stronger, now you can have fuller thoughts. So for me, health is wealth, and the health aspect is very important in this time when we're being bombarded with all this psychological, these things, these distractions, because it's only outside of us, but within us, some good coconut water. Within us, like Chef say, some raw food. I'm telling you, he just gave us some living food. He gave us a little bite-sized goji berry, coconut, superfood, and I'm telling you, I feel like I just had me a Red Bull. I feel so charged. I'm telling you, and my cells feel fed, and I don't even feel heavy, but I feel fit. I feel like I just ate a real live meal, and there's no gassing. I'm so sincere about it. But and he always said you can eat more of that. So, not to be long-winded, but the wellness and health, because you can find out the answers for yourself. You don't even need no leader. For me, it was I looked up to the elders, I looked up to great ones, but when I start feeding my body right and just sitting there, the messages were unlocked. So.
Ashayo. Return of the gods.
Great.
We stand.
That's right.